Greetings. The hybrid HTML drop-down field is a field that is used to display a list of checkbox options. It can either be built using an existing select drop-down, or it can actually be built using a JSON object, both of which initialize a drop-down field which is made of pure HTML and CSS, and therefore can be themed and styled according to your page look and feel. By default, if you have a select field, it renders in a white background and a black font. This is the browser rendering it, and does not adopt or and does not adapt to your page look and feel. Furthermore, a drop-down select has got limited styling options to it. So from this, you can actually convert to something that looks like this, whereby the hybrid drop-down will automatically look at what is the background color of your page, as well as the font of the page, and adapt the drop-down accordingly. There are various styling options that are available, and there's a whole list here on the documentation site that you can look at. But briefly, you can obviously set the background and the color for using CSS styles for the active and hover fields. So by default, it picks blue and white, which is the standard browser for drop-down fields, but you can obviously change this to have your own hover and label, active label colors. You can also reverse the automatic color selection. So instead of having a drop-down that is matching the background of your page and the font of the color, you can actually reverse those and use the background color for the font and the font color for the background, rendering as such. Furthermore, you can also select custom colors altogether for the background and the font, and this is passed at initialization. Initialization can be done either directly on the elements, HTML elements you're going to convert into a drop-down, so that can be a select field, or it could be, for example, a JSON object like over here. And in the setting, the option settings can be passed as data attributes, or they can be passed as a JSON object within the hybrid initialization constructor. So here in this case, the color is set to purple and the background color to light blue, and this is how it renders. But note how although the hover has picked the right color, the active field is still set to its default blue and white, and that can be obviously set using these initial CSS styles. And last but not least, you can completely override the automated coloring, and this is by setting the colorize setting to false, and then there is a whole series of CSS rules that need to be set, which I have given an example here in order to actually set whatever color you want, whatever background you need, whatever highlighted active fields, and the background and as such. Going on the styling, you can also have the opening of the drop down to be right aligned rather than left aligned. You can get it to slide up. These are done using classes set on the element that you're going to convert. You can have both of them combined, so you are opening right align and opening at the top, and this is how it renders. You can also set out what is the maximum height for the drop down field. So the plugin sets up its own a number of variables that can be used to do this. So in this case, the variable of the option height, and then multiplied by 2, which means by default only 2 options are shown in the drop down. You can also get the drop down to disappear altogether and have your field open and showing all the option list by default. This is similar to what the select field does when it is in multiple choice. It opens up by default. When you have the drop down set to none, the option for the drop down set to none, you can also force the checkboxes to be visible. So by default there are no checkboxes, but you can actually push the checkboxes to be visible, and this makes it obviously more intuitive as to what the user needs to do. It needs to check some of these options, and also what happens is that by default, when the drop down is none, the plugin adopts a single column list. However, this can further be customized to have a grid layout, and therefore define the grid columns settings, such as here we have 2 columns, and the drop down will show without any drop down. The HTML field will show with 2 column layout. So this is as far as the styling is concerned, and I invite you to have a look through these.